Brutal truths, why America is hiding the real costs of war, shocking revelations unveiled. The sun set over the dusty battlefield, casting eerie shadows across the charred land. Can you imagine standing there, heart racing, as a chilling whisper fills the air? They're hiding something. A feeling crawls up your spine. Something's off, and it's bigger than anyone can comprehend. The cries of the wounded blend hauntingly with the distant rumble of military trucks, carrying secrets buried deeper than the human cost. Picture this: a veteran's eyes, haunted and hollow, tell a story that no one wants to hear. His hands shake, not from age, but from the weight of unspoken truths that twist in his gut. Each day, he wrestles with memories of innocence caught in crossfire, souls forever changed in a war that promised freedom but delivered heartbreak. It's not just statistics, it's lives shattered, lost, vilified. This isn't just another tale, it's a pulsating reality that grips your chest tight, suffocating, and then there's the uncomfortable silence among the crowds. Whispered accusations hang thick in the air like fog, echoing through the streets. Did they even care? How much are we really spending? What are they trying to hide behind closed doors? The numbers don't add up, and the truth stares back at you with fierce intensity. What happened on those faraway sands, behind the screens? What price did we actually pay? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Days pass, but the questions linger like smoke in the air. What if they're burying more than just the truth? As whispers turn to shouts, the veterans join together, their faces set with determination. The fight isn't over, it's only just beginning. What dark revelations lie in wait? Will the world wake up before it's too late, or is the silence the real enemy? The clock is ticking, and time is running out. The tension spread like wildfire through the gathering crowd, their faces a kaleidoscope of fear, anger, and desperation. The veterans stood firm, a united front, their bodies bearing the marks of battles fought long before, but the struggle was far from over. Murmurs of discontent crescendoed like an approaching storm, each voice adding to the thunderous crescendo. They can't keep lying forever. Someone shouted, fists clenched tight. The ancestors of the fallen deserved the truth, and they were ready to claw it from the shadows. Among them was a woman named Sarah, her eyes gleaming with a fierce light. A daughter of a veteran, she stepped forward, determined to uncover the hidden truths that plagued her family since the day her father came back from the war, a shell of the man he once was. She felt it in her bones, the government was hiding something dark. Each day, the news reports seemed more like scripted disinformation than actual journalism, a soft pillow over the hard facts buried beneath the lies. "I won't stand idly by anymore," she whispered, her heart pounding with newfound resolve. As she rallied her community, the stakes climbed higher. Sarah sought the support of old connections, friends made in the fog of war. They had information, snippets of conversations, names, and places that were more than just coordinates on a map. They were entries in the spirals of pain suffered by thousands. But would they dare to speak out? Each time she approached them, their faces reflected a struggle between fear and courage. What if they come for us? The words echoed in her mind, the weight heavy. But what had silence ever achieved? Suddenly, a crash interrupted her thoughts. A military truck barreled down the road, its tires screeching, a furious mass of metal and intimidation. It stopped inches from where the veterans stood. The soldiers inside stared down, eyes shielded behind dark glasses, as if daring anyone to move. Murmurs spread like a schism, fear and tension crackled in the air, making it hard to breathe. Were they here to silence them? To squash this movement before it gained momentum? Then one soldier stepped out, his expression unreadable. "You're making a mistake," he said, voice low and steady. "There are things you don't understand." The crowd tensed. Who was he to threaten these heroes? Sarah took a step forward, heart racing. "No. You're the one who doesn't understand. This is about truth, something you've been keeping from us." The soldier hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face before it vanished. "Leave this alone. You have no idea what you're getting into." The warning hung heavy in the air, dripping with foreboding, but Sarah had come too far to retreat. She'd seen enough pain. "We deserve to know," she shouted back, unwavering. The atmosphere thickened with unresolved energy, hanging like a storm cloud, ready to unleash chaos. Just then, Anna, a veteran-s widow, stepped from the back of the crowd, her weathered face illuminated by the twilight glow. "Tell us the truth or prepare for war," she declared, voice fierce and unyielding. The soldiers seemed caught off guard, glancing at each other, uncertainty brewing along the edges of their resolve. Would they reveal the secrets they harbored? Or was the truth buried so deep that not even the darkest forces could extract it safely? The air crackled with anticipation, every person holding their breath. The precipice of revelation or ruin lay before them. In that moment, the boundaries of right and wrong blurred, shadows of manipulation creeping closer. A decision loomed large, but the clock of justice was ticking louder. What decision would change everything? And what would Sarah discover next that could turn the tide? The road ahead was uncertain, but she was determined to fight, no matter the risks. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness seeped into the edges of the crowd, hinting at the trials that lay ahead. Would they confront the beast lurking in the veil of war, or would the truth remain shackled forever? The choice was theirs to make, but time was running out. The soldier's eyes met Sarah's with a mixture of challenge and dread. The crowd swirled with uncertainty, murmurs rising and falling like waves in a stormy sea. Had they really crossed a line? Sarah felt the pulse of fear in the air, but she clung to her resolve. "We need to know. Every soldier who came back shattered is a testament to your secrets." With Anna backing her, the tension shifted. The soldier's jaw clenched, his posture rigid. "You think you want the truth? You have no idea what you're asking for." His words dripped with an unsettling weight. The crowd shifted restlessly, glances exchanged as if weighing the words together. "What makes you think we can't handle the truth?" Anna challenged. She moved closer, every inch of her frame radiating strength. "Our loved ones paid the price. Their sacrifices deserve understanding, not lies." Suddenly, the vehicle door creaked open wider, and a second soldier stepped out. This one was different, a woman, her face set in grim determination. "Listen," she said, her voice cutting through the mounting chaos. "You think this is about you, but it's not. There are forces at play here you can't even imagine." "Try us," Sarah barked back, adrenaline fueling her voice. Around her, the crowd stirred, emboldened by her fire. They were tired of secrets, tired of hiding. They were ready for battle. The male soldier's expression shifted, something close to panic flickering in his eyes. "You don't know what's out there," he nearly shouted, but the resolve in Sarah's gaze silenced him. They all understood the unspoken truth. Their hope for change now hung delicately on the edge of confrontation. The hand of the soldier's female partner steadied his shoulder. "This isn't a threat, it's a warning. If you dig too deep, you might not like what you find." There was a strange sincerity behind her words, and for a moment, the crowd quieted. The promise of truth loomed heavy in the air, lit by the dying glow of the sun. Sarah fought to keep her voice steady. "Then let us decide what we're willing to face. We owe it to our fallen, to ourselves." The rigidity in the soldiers relented, a flicker of hesitation breaking through the hardened facade. Whatever lay beneath the surface trembled, waiting. In that moment, Sarah's phone buzzed violently in her pocket. She fished it out, her heart racing. A message blinked on the screen, an encrypted text from one of her father's old comrades. Meet me. I have something you need to see. It's urgent. The urgency pierced the heavy atmosphere, adrenaline surging through Sarah like electricity. She turned back to the crowd. There's more at stake than just us. I have a lead. Her words ignited the crowd once more, hope catching fire among the veterans standing behind her. They were ready to follow her into the unknown. Go, the female soldier urged, tension easing slightly in her shoulders. But don't say we didn't warn you. The first soldier stepped back slightly, eyes scanning the crowd. You think you can just walk away? This isn't just a game. Neither is the truth, Sarah shot back, her heart pounding furiously. She knew she had to move now, the opportunity etched into her mind. As the crowd pressed closer around her, she felt their strength bolstering her own. They would follow her wherever this journey took them. As Sarah turned to rally the crowd, footsteps echoed behind her. She didn't notice the tension in the soldiers' eyes nor the silent conversation that passed between them. They turned reluctantly back to the truck, leaving the crowd feeling both exhilarated and anxious. With the crowd now galvanized, they moved together, a sea of determination, toward the rendezvous point. Sarah's heart ached with fear and excitement, a clashing storm of emotions brewing inside her. What did the comrade know? What truth awaited her in the hidden corners of this fight? But as they marched, the shadows stretched longer behind them, whispering reminders of what lay in wait. The clock of secrets was ticking, and somewhere, someone was watching closely, prepared to do anything to keep the truth buried. Would this lead bring them closer to justice or lead them down a path of oblivion? A cold chill ran through Sarah, the answer was not yet revealed. The heavy hum of conversations faded as the crowd moved through the alleyways, adrenaline buzzing like a live wire. Sarah led them, a beacon of hope, her heart thrumming with both fear and determination. The streets mirrored her turmoil, dimly lit by flickering street lamps casting long shadows that danced in the distance. As they approached the rendezvous point, a derelict warehouse loomed ahead, its windows cracked and grimy, the perfect cover for secrets. The place felt alive, pulsating with a raw energy that matched the thrum of her heart. This is it, she said, her voice steady, though inside she wavered. We'll find answers here. She glanced back, catching Anna's eye. There was reassurance in her friend's gaze, a pact solidified between them. The crowd spilled into the open space, breathing in the stale air that carried whispers of past battles fought within these walls. Sarah stepped inside, navigating through rusted machinery and layers of dust. Her phone buzzed again, its screen lighting her face. It was the same number. An urgent pulsating dot blinked ominously, as if daring her to engage. Should I? She wondered aloud, her voice bouncing off the cold, stone walls. A murmur rippled through her followers as they waited, eyes wide, breath held. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows, a man clad in a tattered military jacket, his face obscured by the dim light. Sarah, he called, voice gravelly but urgent. I'm glad you came. We don't have much time. The crowd shifted, a collective intake of air. Their anticipation grew thicker, like pressure before a storm. Who are you? She asked, stepping closer. The man pulled up the hood of his jacket, revealing sharp features and haunted eyes. Memories echoed through his gaze, memories of pain, loss, and battles long gone. Your father, he knew too much, the man whispered, the weight of his words heavy with significance. And what he uncovered, they're still hiding it. The crowd held its breath, every heart racing in suspense. You need to understand what happened in that war. It's worse than you think. In that moment, anxiety shot through Sarah like a jolt, and she focused on the man's words, sensing a pivotal reveal teetering on the edge of his lips. Worse how? She pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. The man shifted, glancing around nervously before he continued. There are covert operations, secret transactions. The fallen are part of something greater, something dark. It's not just your loved ones who were lost out there. What are you saying? Anna interjected, her voice tight with disbelief. The crowd murmured in confusion, the weight of the revelation settling heavily around them. The man gulped, steely resolve washing over his face. "I've got proof. A document files that can expose it all. But we need to move fast. They're on to us." A chill coursed through Sarah, a knot of fear tightening in her chest. "Who is they?" she asked, but before he could respond, a distant sound sliced through the air, a whoosh followed by a low rumble. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, and the air thickened with tension. "They found us," he shouted, urgency rising in his voice. The crowd erupted into chaos, fear etched on every face as figures dashed into view, dark silhouettes appearing in the broken light, surrounding the warehouse. "Go! Now!" Sarah yelled, her instincts taking over. The crowd surged forward, panic setting in. She grabbed Anna's hand, her heart racing faster than before. The truth was just within reach, but danger clawed at their heels. They darted deeper into the warehouse, seeking shelter, desperate for answers as shadows loomed outside. Would this be the moment they uncovered the horrific truth, or were they stepping into a trap that held consequences beyond their imagination? The race against time had begun. The air was thick with panic as Sarah pulled Anna deeper into the warehouse. Shadows threatened from all sides, and disbelief mingled with desperation in their throats. They skidded behind an old conveyor belt, panting heavily, their breaths visible in the cold air. "Did you see them?" Anna's voice trembled, her eyes wide with fear. "They were everywhere." "They're not after us," Sarah murmured, her mind racing. "They want him, the man who knows." Suddenly, a sharp crash echoed from the entrance, followed by frantic shouts. Someone had been caught. Sarah felt her heart race. She couldn't let that happen. "Anna, we need to keep moving," she whispered, glancing back at the crowd gathering by the entrance. They pressed against the doors, searching for an exit, but it was clear the way was now blocked. "Wait!" A voice called behind them, hushed but urgent. It was the man in the military jacket, his face now illuminated by a stray beam of moonlight streaming through a cracked window. "This way!" They squeezed past the machinery, following him into a narrow corridor that reeked of oil and rust. Every step felt like it could be their last. The overhead lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that followed them like specters. "Why did you come here?" the man asked, urgency etching lines across his brow. "You shouldn't have, because people need to know." Sarah interrupted, fire igniting in her chest. "I can't walk away while the truth is hidden." He paused, visibly shaken. "You don't understand the danger. This isn't just about the past. It's about what they're planning. What they'll do to keep it buried." "What are you talking about?" Anna demanded, her voice a mixture of fear and defiance. "They're preparing for war again," he stated, his voice low yet fierce. "And this time, they'll ensure nobody survives to tell the story." A chill ran down Sarah's spine. "What do you know?" With a weary sigh, he pulled out a weathered folder and opened it, revealing pages filled with names, dates, and coded messages. "I've been gathering intel for years. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Your father was onto something, and they silenced him." The reality of his words hit hard, a crushing weight landing on her chest. "My dad?" "Yes," he confirmed, locking eyes with her. "He was part of a mission that went sideways. He found evidence of high-ranking officials involved in these covert operations. If that gets out..." He let the sentence linger, fear swirling in the air, muffled footsteps reverberated through the corridor, and the tension shot back up to a fever pitch. "They're coming!" Sarah hissed, adrenaline crashing through her veins. "We have to get out. Now. Follow me." He turned and raced through a back door marked with caution tape that led into a dimly lit storage room filled with old crates. They could hear shouting and the pounding of footsteps growing closer. Sarah felt an urgency to escape, but curiosity nagged at her. "What's in the files?" she yelled after him. Shocking revelations about war: who benefits, who suffers. The bloody costs that people ignore. Before she could ask more, a loud bang echoed through the storage room. The door shook violently as it threatened to burst open. Quick! Up there! Anna pointed to a skylight overhead, just big enough for a slender figure to slip through. With no time to waste, they hoisted themselves onto the crates, inching towards freedom. The pounding on the door grew louder. Just as Sarah was about to make the leap, she hesitated. "Sarah! Don't look back!" Anna shouted, her face etched with panic. But Sarah couldn't help it. She stole one last glance at the door, where shadows loomed, their shapes jagged against the dim light. As she kicked her legs to get a grip on the edge of the skylight, a gunshot rang out. "Go!" Anna screamed, and Sarah felt a jolt of fear shoot through her. She scrambled out just in time, barely escaping the narrow maw of anguish behind her. Landing hard on the ground outside, she rolled to her feet. The world spun, and her heart thundered. What was that? Anna gasped, scrambled next to her. "They're after us." Sarah breathed. "The truth is bigger than I ever imagined." But as they turned to find their footing, another sound caught their attention, a familiar voice echoing through the darkness, trailing closer. "Sarah! Wait! We need to talk about what you found out." At that moment, she froze, dread pooling in her stomach. Who was following them now? And what awaited them outside that darkened warehouse filled with secrets of war? The chase was far from over. Panic surged through Sarah as she turned to face the voice calling her name. It was David, a journalist and a friend from her father's circle, his face smeared with dirt and shadow. But the fear in his eyes told a different tale, making her heart race even more. "David! You shouldn't be here!" she shouted, urgency eclipsing her reason. "It's not safe. They're everywhere." He gasped, glancing back toward the looming darkness of the warehouse. "I saw them. They're on a hunt and they're desperate. We can't stay out here." The words rattled around in her brain. Desperate people do desperate things. The memories of her father's warnings echoed in her mind. "What do you mean, desperate?" David took a step closer, the flickering streetlights revealing the sweat on his brow. "They know what your dad found, what he was going to expose. They think you have it. You need to." A burst of gunfire interrupted him, a sharp crack that made the air vibrate. Panic gripped Sarah's throat, and she pulled Anna back, instinctively shielding her. David's expression morphed from urgency to something more grave. "Run!" he shouted. "We can talk later." "They're coming." Sarah clutched Anna's hand tightly. She could taste fear at the back of her throat, a metallic tang that made her dizzy. "We have to find somewhere to hide." They dashed away from the warehouse, the sound of heavy boots pounding behind them filling the air. Sarah risked a glance back and saw shadows moving, figures emerging like ghosts from the dark. Her fear turned to survival instinct, pushing her forward with each frantic step. "Over there." Anna pointed toward a parked van with tinted windows. They sprinted toward it, desperation fueling every movement. David was hot on their heels, latching onto the back door just as Sarah fumbled with the handle. "Get in!" he yelled, already shoving the door open. They squeezed inside, the stale air heavy around them. "Drive!" Sarah commanded, as David jumped into the passenger seat up front. The driver's side door swung wide open, and she hopped in, heart racing. "We can't let them get to us." As David turned the key in the ignition, the engine growled to life, drowning out the chaos surrounding them. Tires screeched when he jerked the van into motion, accelerating away from the menacing figures now spilling out of the warehouse. A sense of urgency settled in the cramped space as they sped into the night. "What do you know?" Sarah panted, gripping the dashboard, her pulse racing as fast as the van. "What was in those files? What did my father find?" David glanced at her, his gaze wild but focused. Your dad was onto something dangerous, documents that trace back to the highest levels of government. Plans that could expose not only corruption but treachery that could ignite a new conflict. His words poured into the car like ice water, chilling her spine. And they'll do anything to keep it hidden. What do you mean? Anna's voice quavered. They'll kill anyone who threatens their power, David said grimly. We have to get those files to someone who can protect us before it's too late. A shudder ran through Sarah at the thought of what was at stake. The truth shielded by betrayal. The weight of her father's legacy pressing down on her. Then we find it. We have to find the files. A flicker of determination ignited in her chest. She could not let fear tie her down, but before they could strategize, David hit the brakes hard, sending all of them lunging forward. What the hell? Anna gasped at in the distance, a pair of headlights cut through the dark, approaching quickly. A chase was underway, and they were the hunted. Hide. They might see us. David hissed, fumbling for the gear shift. As they pressed themselves down against the seats, Sarah felt something deep within her tighten. They were on the cusp of something frightening, and she had no clue how it would end. Would they become another casualty of a hidden war? The headlights came closer, and Sarah felt the grip of dread return. What now? She whispered, the weight of the unknown bearing down on her like a leaden cloak. Get ready, David murmured, eyes fixed on the road. This isn't over yet. And with that, the shadows of their past began to collide with the dangers of their present, forcing them to make choices that could change everything. What awaited them out there in the night? They couldn't hide forever. The headlights were suddenly upon them, blinding and relentless. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, panic filling the van's suffocating air. The faint sound of a siren wailed in the distance, tangled with the heavy thump of her heart pounding against her rib cage. Stay low, David directed, his voice strained but resolute. They shrank into their seats, hearts racing wildly as the pursuing vehicle slowed to a crawl beside them. Shadows moved outside, replaying the nightmare unfolding just beyond the glass. Sarah could barely breathe. Adrenaline surged through her as the headlights illuminated the van's interior like someone had switched on a spotlight. She dared a glance upward, just in time to catch the profile of a figure leaning against the passenger window. The man wore a cap pulled low over his eyes, a gun gripped tightly in one hand. Keep your heads down. David rasped as he maneuvered the van into an alley, tires scrunching sharply over gravel. The man outside bellowed something unintelligible, his silhouette vanishing as David jerked the wheel, narrowly avoiding the incoming collision. Sarah felt the van jerk as they hit a bump, her stomach turning violently. Go faster. Anna cried, panic threading through her voice. David activated the van's speed, weaving through narrow streets. Each turn jolted Sarah, amplifying the chaos erupting inside her mind. We can't outrun them forever. She shouted, emotion spilling over the edges of her fear. What's the plan? Anna asked, her wide eyes filled with dread. What do we do when they catch up? It's not about running forever. David's expression hardened, the lines of determination carved on his face glowing against the chaos outside. We need to confront this head-on. Sarah blinked back tears. Confront what? We don't even know who they are. Each question hung like a weight in the air, stifling her resolve. They're the ones who want to erase your father's legacy. They will stop at nothing. His voice held a desperation that flipped her dread into courage. It's time we take control. Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed from behind them, a violent impact. Fresh terror clawed at Sarah's throat as she could picture the chaos unraveling just a breath away. She glanced back, catching sight of the pursuers, a dark SUV that had swung around and was barreling toward them, nightmarish determination etched into their movements. David! She yelled, panic flaring once more. They're right on us. He downshifted, the engine roaring as they tore through intersections, weaving dangerously between parked cars. We need somewhere to regroup. A place to think. Distant voices flooded Sarah's mind, her father's stern warnings about trust, whispers of betrayal. What if they know about the files? She muttered shakily, fear coiling tightly around her throat. Then we've got to hide them. No one can get to them, David said firmly, a fire lighting his gaze. And if we get caught, we'll fight, no matter what. Sarah committed to that thought, a flicker of hope amidst the uncertainty. They surged past another corner, heading deeper into the city's veins. But as they rounded a sharp turn, they found themselves in a desolate industrial zone, shadows towering around them like specters. David skidded to a halt, the tires screaming as they came to a stop in a secluded lot. The engine throbbed, almost as if it too was catching its breath. Turning quickly, David leaned in, urgency now taking over again. We need to make a plan. They won't let up. We can't let them get their hands on those files. What do we do? Where do we go? Anna whispered, looking horrified. Let us split up, David said. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. I can create a diversion. You two find a place to hide and protect the files. No. Sarah's voice came out sharper than she intended. You can't just let them take you, Sarah. You're the key. Your father, he trusted you. David's eyes blazed with urgency. Find somewhere safe. Suddenly, the distant roar of engines echoed again, drowning her protests. The realization hit hard, they were racing against time, and she might lose the only ally she had left. Fine, she finally whispered, knowing the fragility of their situation. David turned the ignition key, the engine roaring back to life. Now go. He instructed, desperation cracking his voice. As they bolted from the vehicle, shadows flickered at the edges of their surroundings like predators hunting in the night. Sarah glanced back once, her chest tight with fear. Was this the last time she would see David? And then a shot rang out. Anna! Run! They fled into the dark abyss of uncertainty, hoping the looming threat of discovery wouldn't swallow them whole. But the night was thick with dread, and danger lurked with every shadow. The chase had only just begun. What would they find in the darkness ahead? The scream of the gunshot still echoed in her ears as they sprinted through the desolate lot, the cold air biting Sarah's lungs. Panic fueled her legs, propelling her forward into the abyss of darkness. Beside her, Anna's breath came out in sharp gasps, a stark reminder of the danger closing in. They darted toward a broken-down warehouse, its towering silhouette casting long shadows that engulfed them as they slipped inside. The door creaked ominously, sending a shiver down Sarah's spine. Shadows danced on the walls, a chaotic flicker of movement that made her heart race even faster. Do you think he'll be okay? Anna's voice trembled, barely above a whisper, as they pressed against a once white wall now caked in grime. He has to be, Sarah replied, trying to muster strength she didn't feel. Doubt gnawed at her insides. What if they didn't make it? What if David? She killed the thought there, refusing to surrender to fear. The warehouse was labyrinthine, with shadows curling into every corner. They moved deeper inside, careful to remain silent. Rusted machinery loomed around them, remnants of a forgotten time. A stench filled the air, decay and dust, mingled with the metallic tinge of fear. Suddenly, the sound of tires screeching filled the air outside, followed by the unmistakable thud of heavy boots. Sarah's heart raced, the thudding echoing in her throat. The pursuers had arrived. Hide! She hissed as they ducked behind an old machine, the cold metal pressing against her back. Every breath felt like a betrayal in the stillness, but they needed to hear what was happening outside. Voices drifted in, muffled but recognizable, a harsh, authoritative tone cutting through the night. Check the damn warehouse. He couldn't have gone far. A chill wrapped around Sarah's spine. They weren't just looking for her and Anna, they were hunting David. The thought sent her hurtling into despair. What if they found him? What if the metal of an old conveyor belt creaked under the weight of an unseen figure? He's not here. But he'll come back for the files, a voice said with a sneer. And when he does? The threat hung heavily in the air, a murky fog of dread closing in around Sarah and Anna. The weight of their reality pressed down like a physical thing, squeezing the breath from her lungs. A rush of anger sparked inside her. They couldn't let that happen. They couldn't let David down. In that moment, something shifted in Sarah. She wasn't just a scared girl running from the dark anymore. She was part of this fight. What are we going to do? Anna whispered, her voice quaking, breath steadying. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. The files are here, in the van. If we can reach them first, maybe we can use them against whoever they are. Expose the truth. Anna's eyes widened. But what if they catch us on the way? We'll have to be smarter. We need to create a distraction. She glanced around, plotting in the flickering dim light. As the voices grew louder, creeping closer, an idea sparked in her mind. They needed to lure the hunters away. You see that entrance over there? She pointed to a rusted door at the back, a faint glow outlining its edges. Let us use that. With a nod, they steeled themselves, hearts pounding like war drums. Quietly, they edged toward the door, adrenaline heightening their senses. The sound of footsteps echoed, then abruptly stopped. Did you hear that? One said, his voice low and menacing. The door squealed open, a blast of cold air hitting their faces. Without hesitating, Sarah dashed outside into the murky night, her instincts kicking in. Hands grasped around her, urging her forward while her mind raced with the stakes. As they sprinted, she glanced back toward the entrance. Shadows swarmed and from them, a figure emerged, gun raised high. Stop them! Someone yelled, the command slicing through the tension like a knife. Run! Sarah yelled, her fear transformed into fierce determination. They were out of time. David's fate lay in their hands. They dashed into the night, the sound of pursuit chasing them like a chilling whisper. Would they reach David before it was too late? Or had the night already sealed their fate? The night air was thick with dread as Sarah and Anna sprinted down the deserted street. Heart hammering in her chest, Sarah glanced back, adrenaline coursing through her veins like fire. The shadows had started to pulse with life, the men were on their trail. She could hear their footsteps crunching on the asphalt, urgency in their voices. Faster! She urged, pulling Anna along. They dashed between two crumbling buildings, sliding into a narrow alleyway. Sarah's breathing was erratic, her thoughts a chaotic whirlpool of fear and resolve. They needed to find David and protect the files whatever the cost. They emerged on the other side, panting, and ducked behind a dumpster, hoping for a moment's reprieve. What if they find us? Anna breathed, her eyes wide and scared. We have to trust him, and ourselves, Sarah replied, gripping Anna's shoulder to steady them both. As much as her words were meant to reassure Anna, they echoed her own inner fear. They were running out of time. A sudden rustle from the alley sent a jolt through Sarah. The men were closer now, their voices splitting the stillness. They must have gone this way, split up and searched the area. They can't be far. Sarah's pulse quickened. If they didn't act soon, they'd be trapped with nowhere to go. We have to create a distraction, she whispered, scanning their surroundings for anything that could help. It was dark, but amid the scattered debris, an old paint can lay nearby, its contents faded but still somewhat intact. I can throw it, Anna said, her eyes narrowing with sudden determination. No, no. Sarah shook her head. If they see it come from here, it'll give away our position. She thought quickly. Here, we needs a different approach. I'll toss it up onto the roof. With that, Sarah quickly formulated a plan. They moved silently to the side of the building. With a quick glance to ensure the coast was clear, she hoisted Anna onto her shoulders. Lift it. You're closer, just toss it straight up. Anna held the can tightly and, with a swift motion, launched it upward. It clattered on the rooftop, sending a cacophony of sound shattering into the night. Go, go. Sarah urged, scrambling to get Anna back down. They bolted toward the back of the building, hearts pounding, breaths sharp. The sounds of footsteps echoed behind them, a mix of shouts and confusion. What was that? Over there. As they turned the corner, Sarah and Anna ducked into a hidden nook behind a decrepit fence. They pressed their backs against the cold metal, holding their breath as heavy boots passed mere inches away. Split up. They must be nearby. One of the hunters barked. A chill ran down Sarah's spine. Panic clawed its way back into her chest, fangs bared. These men weren't just hunters, they were predators. Where do we go now? Anna whispered, fear lacing her voice. Sarah felt the weight of despair crushing her. Every option seemed to close in on them, but they couldn't afford to give up. This way, she pointed toward a side alley that led away from the men. If we can traverse through a few of these streets, we might circle back and find David. They slipped into the alley, shadows consuming them. The streets had become a maze of uncertainty. Every flicker of movement felt like an omen, sending warning bells ringing in Sarah's mind. Just as they turned a corner, a flash of light shone down on them. There they are. The shadowy form of a man loomed ahead, eyes fixed on Sarah with a hungry intensity. Without thinking, she grabbed Anna's wrist and yanked her forcefully to the side, just as a bullet rang out, zipping past where they had stood seconds before. Run! She screamed, launching them both forward as the chaos erupted around them. They dashed down another street, breaths bursting from their lungs like wildfire, and just as they reached the end, Sarah spotted a van parked under flickering streetlights. Was it the same one David had been using? A surge of hope ignited inside her, but could they reach it before their pursuers caught up? Over there! Quick! She shouted, leading the way with Anna right behind her. Determination mixed with sheer terror fueling their desperate escape. The night was alive with danger. Would they reach the van? Or was this darkness hiding even deadlier secrets just out of sight? The van loomed ahead like a beacon of hope amid the chaos, but doubt clawed at Sarah's throat. Would it really be a safe haven, or the trap they were desperately avoiding? Exhaling sharply, she urged Anna forward, heart racing wild like a stallion. They reached the side door, fumbling as they struggled to pull it open, anxiety wreaking havoc on their movements. David! Are you inside? She called out into the darkness. No response. Panic trickled in, an icy dread that made it hard to breathe. Behind them, footsteps echoed in the night, heavy and relentless. We have to hurry. Anna gasped, her voice trembling. Just as Sarah finally wrestled the door open, gunfire erupted. Get in! She shouted, adrenaline surging as they ducked inside the cramped space. The two of them huddled, breathless, hearts hammering in chaotic sync. What about David? Anna cried, her eyes wide with fear. He'll find us. We just need to get this van moving. Sarah insisted, her determination refusing to waver. She turned the key in the ignition, praying the engine would roar to life. It sputtered, wheezed, and then thanked the heavens it roared alive. Revving it up, they heard shouts closing in, terror filling the air. Sarah slammed the gear into reverse, tires screeching as she whipped the van around, taking off in a cloud of dust just as the headlights of the pursuing vehicle cut through the dark like a knife. Before she could even catch her breath, her phone buzzed violently, jolting her like a sudden shock. It was David. He sent an encrypted message. Head to the safe house, read the text. I'll catch up with you. Go. Go. We need to get out of here. Anna screamed, eyes darting, filled with a mix of fear and hope. He'll be fine. But we have to move. With the weight of fate pressing heavily on their shoulders, Sarah's hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than ever. She shot through side streets, her heart pounding as the headlights of the SUV reflected in the rearview mirror. They wouldn't give up easily, they were relentless. Where's the safe house? Anna yelled, desperation lacing her voice. "Just a few blocks up." Sarah shouted back, glancing back for just an instant. She saw dread etched on the hunters' faces as they pursued. They flew through narrow alleys, trees blurring past like memories fading into shadows. And then, at the end of the street, she saw it a warehouse, unassuming but fortified with hidden secrets. The safe house loomed ahead, a fortress amongst the chaos. "Pull in," Anna urged, and Sarah skidded to a halt, barely making it inside. As they jumped out, the two sprinted towards the entrance. The door creaked as they hurried in, adrenaline still rushing, their senses heightened. Inside, the air felt electric, thick with palpable tension. "We made it," Anna panted, relief flooding her voice, if only for a moment. But Sarah's heart remained heavy. David was still out there. "Sarah, look." Anna pointed across the room. There on a table lay stacks of folders, their edges yellowed with age. "Is that?" "It has to be," Sarah confirmed, racing toward it, hope lighting a fire inside her. She flipped through the files, heart thrumming hard. Every name, every mission in those pages was a story waiting to be told, a testament to their struggles against the dark forces trying to suppress the truth. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, followed by shouts of frustration. They weren't safe yet. "They're here," Sarah exclaimed, urgency gripping her once more. "Quick! We have to secure the entrances," Anna yelled, moving towards the windows. "Grab everything," Sarah shouted, stuffing documents into a duffel bag. "We can't leave without this evidence." "Just go. We can't be caught here," Anna insisted, but Sarah shook her head. They couldn't allow their fight to end in obscurity, buried under lies. With a few final touches, Sarah slung the bag over her shoulder. "Ready?" she asked, and Anna nodded, resolute, fear wrapped tightly around them, yet igniting their spirit to fight like flames devouring a forest. They turned to leave the room just as dark silhouettes started emerging from the shadows, figures blocking the exit, breath mingling with panic. It was now or never. "Stay close," Sarah commanded, adrenaline surging. They raced toward a back exit, the night air chilling as they burst outside and sprinted into the inky blackness. The fight was far from over, but as they dashed into the shadows, they felt the weight of their ancestors carrying them forth. These weren't just ghosts, they were the voices of those silenced, spurring Sarah forward, through the echoes of pain and loss. As they dashed into their uncertain futures, one truth was clear: their fight was only beginning. No longer just another victim, Sarah had become a warrior, ready to battle for all that was just. The darkness would not win this time, it would not consume the truth. As long as she could breathe and fight, the story of her father and all the warriors lost would never vanish. In that moment of clarity, the turning tide coursed through her veins. Sarah might not know how everything would end, but she would not back down. She would face the shadows and reclaim the truth, come what may. And with that thought burning bright, they vanished into the night, ready to rewrite the ending. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and support our fight for truth. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand how vital your support is.